Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well on this Tuesday, this Tuesday evening. We've got a great show in store for you today. Great chat today. So I want to wait a couple of minutes for my guest to come on. Hi, Kennedy. Hope you had a good day today. Waiting on my guest to come on. Hopefully she'll be on in just a second. Give her a couple of minutes. I think my guest is coming on. Give it a few seconds for her to try to join in, and then we will get started.
Chrissy, I might need to use my phone. I might need to use my phone.
We'll give her a couple of minutes to get her situated. She's grabbing another technology.
Can you hear me? It's being really slow.
I hear you. I hear you. Just waiting on you to come on in. Oh, okay. Let's see. Technology can be a beast sometimes, but we are going to get that situated. So just technology. Bear with us a couple of minutes and we'll get the chat started. Hey, Ivory. Hey, Ivory. It just seems like the enemy just does not want us to have this conversation today, but we are going to have it. She's having a little technical difficulty, so just bear with us. I hope you are doing well. It's good to see you. Like she's trying to join in. We'll give it a couple more minutes. Yes, Ivory, I am counting the days until it is time for summer break. Because your girl is tired. All right, for some reason, guys, her video is not coming up. So we're trying to get her on. Oh, okay. Let's see.
Ah,
Yes!
finally. Yeah.
Woo! Yes! We was, oh no. Oh no, she went back out. Well, let's hopefully she can come back on and then we can get it started. Sheldon's counting down the days too. Yes. Yes, I can't wait. It needs to be over next week. Hopefully she can get back in so that we can get our conversation started. All right, let's try it one more time. There you go. Hey,
So many issues.
it's okay. That's technology for you, girl. That is technology. Let's go ahead and get this conversation started because I have been excited and been waiting to have this chat with you today. So, without further ado, welcome everyone that is watching. I am Tisha, your favorite breast cancer survivor, host of Tisha's Tea Room, the place where conversations conquer cancer. And today, my guest is a dear friend of mine who was once on my show when I first established Tisha's Tea Room. She was actually one of my first guests.
Oh,
And
wow.
she has been, since then, has been just doing some awesome work advocating in the breast cancer community. She is thriving, she is surviving, and she is doing it. So everyone, please give a warm welcome to my friend, my sister, my survivor sister, Miss Deltra James. Hey, girl.
Hey.
Thank you so very much for taking the time out to come and
Of
come into
course.
the room and chat with us today. For those that are out there listening and that don't know who you are, tell our listeners and our viewers a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so a few things about me. I'm a Connecticut girl, New Englander, born and
Okay.
raised. Um, I'm a mama to 5 girls.
Okay.
I'm a cancer thriver. I've been living with metastatic breast cancer since summer of 2019, so I'm about to celebrate 5 years this
Come on,
summer, which is
5 years.
just a huge marker.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a patient advocate and a poet. That's something that I really love and have been using to kind of, express my experience through this journey.
Mhm.
So those are, yeah, and a cat mom.
Ah, so we got a what do they call cats? Fur babies? I know they call.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah, yeah. I
she's
think anything with fur can be a
is
fur baby.
can be a fur baby. So she's mom to 5, not one, but 5 beautiful girls. But she is
Yeah.
to a fur baby. Girl, how do you do it? How do it? When I've watched you over the years that we've known each other, and I've seen you just thrive. And and just being the voice for those that don't have that voice when as far as being diagnosed or impacted by breast cancer for people of color. I have seen you at your high moments. I've seen you at your low moments. So today I just want us to have a chat, have a talk about, today is the last day of April, which April
hmm
is National Minority Health Month. So talk to us a little bit about when you were going through your breast cancer journey. How did you advocate for your health? How did you stay on top of your health? What were some things that you did?
Yeah. Um, I think an important thing I did straight out the gate was um, waste no time and prioritize myself,
Yeah.
which is really difficult, for women in general to do, but especially when you're a mother.
Mm-hmm.
It can be, we're so busy with all of the things kids have going on and scheduling, making sure they get in for all of their annual appointments. And I have that times 5. And,
Yeah.
um, and cancer was absolutely not on my radar whatsoever. But I'm always really proud of myself that as soon as I noticed something was off, I didn't waste any time or try and explain it away to myself. I carved out the time and made an appointment to meet with my doctor. So I made that time for myself, and I think that's kind of like a step one
Yeah,
starting point, most important thing, because that led me to getting a diagnosis, which led to me receiving the care that I needed, which is the reason probably that I'm still here today.
absolutely.
Um, yeah, so that prioritizing myself,
Mhm.
um, and then just remembering that I am, the authority on my team, even though I'm dealing with people who they're wonderful. They have, they're knowledgeable. They know what they know, but they don't know my body
Right,
the way that I do.
exactly.
And so it's important for us to always remember that and act accordingly,
Huh?
and act accordingly, and to um, speak up for myself, which I've definitely found my voice over time, because it wasn't something that was just immediate. I
Right.
really had to develop it and learn how to talk to these people,
Mhm.
not let anyone speak to me as if, um, everything they say is fine or what I have to
Right.
do. So I sought out second, even third opinions.
Yep.
A saying of mine is push until you get peace.
Yes.
Whenever I'm talking to people, especially younger women like myself, I was 33 years old when I got
Wow.
diagnosed, you know, factoring in being young, being a person of color, and then just your personality type. If you're more the kind of person who doesn't usually speak up,
Hmm.
it can be really challenging.
Yeah,
And so it took me a while to develop that. And that's been certainly been a key factor in my survival.
absolutely. You actually you hit on a couple of things that I wanted to just to go back and reiterate. When you said that you're the priority of your body. You are, no matter who your doctors are, no matter what team that you have, you make that final say so. Um Speaking up for yourself, that was a huge one. I know,
Yes.
like, you found your voice through your journey. So did I found mine through my journey as well, because I before cancer, I was 36 when I was diagnosed. uh,
Wow.
Before cancer, I wasn't as vocal
Mhm.
now. And as I went through my journey and learning everything that goes through, or everything that goes through with the treatments, and it's just so much. And then you have to find that voice, because again, this is your body that's going through this traumatic experience. No one else is going through that. But
Mhm.
and no matter what no one else says, and like you said, speaking to someone, and speaking up for yourself until you find that peace. I like that. And
Yeah. I get a lot of people asking me, how people love to come to you and say, "Hey,
yeah,
I think I might have found a lump or this or that's going on,
yeah,
but the doctors are telling me you're too young or you don't have a cancer history, so you don't need, in your family, so you don't need to worry about that." Or they want them to play the waiting game a little longer than they're comfortable with.
right,
And I always just say, push until you get peace, meaning do not stop, do not accept what they tell you until you feel at peace about it.
exactly.
Don't just accept whatever they tell you, or ignore any. If you still have lingering questions and concerns, then enough hasn't been done.
Absolutely, absolutely. um did you have how what was your support system like?
It was a really messy time when I got diagnosed.
Hmm.
I was always fortunate to have, family close by, and not only physically close by, but my family is very close. I have a great family. My parents are just 5-10 minutes away from me. Um, and at that time, I had some very good friends. I was homeschooling my children. We had a really strong, like homeschool community around
Okay.
us. And those people, just like our church family, kind of stepped up with being like, all right, what you need? Meal trains, childcare, all of that. And so was fortunate
Yeah.
to feel very supported.
How hard was it to tell your children, to tell your girl, or
That was definitely challenging,
yeah,
just because I felt like the more that I spoke it, the more it felt real,
real? Mm-hmm.
And when you're in that kind of
Yeah.
daze, when you're newly diagnosed, you start to feel like, did I just have like a crazy dream?
Right.
Every day when I woke up, I felt like this cannot be my real life.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was first diagnosed, like very new, I only shared with my immediate family and a few close friends who were helping out, with childcare and all that as I was having a lot of doctor's appointments. But once I had all of the information,
Mm-hmm.
which was maybe like a month
Yeah.
after I got my cancer diagnosis, I knew, my treatment plan, all of that. Then I felt comfortable to like share openly. And I actually, just to make it easier on myself, made like a whole social media
Mm-hmm.
post to share,
Yep.
about my diagnosis, as many people do
Yeah.
nowadays. And then with my children, I knew that I was going to be real open and honest with them because that's how I had been. As I said, I was homeschooling. So I already knew how to teach them things.
Right.
And it had already been my job to like tell them about things. And I always took a, really open, honest perspective with it and not sugarcoat, not talk down to them. And but my kids are a range of ages. At that time they were like 4
Mm.
to
Okay.
13. And so I knew I did not want, and they kids have different personalities too, and you know what each child needs, your children. And so for me, there was no like big moment of like, all right, family meeting.
Mm-hmm.
I knew I wanted to tell them individually, which I
Yeah.
did. That was an important thing to me, so I could share in a way that was not only age appropriate for each child, but also appropriate for like the level of what they could handle. I also wanted them to feel like safe in that moment to respond however they needed to. So that was important
Absolutely.
for how I went about
Okay.
sharing.
And like you said, it is important that I like how you did it individually with each girl, um, because it is you. They do have different personalities,
Yeah.
and for them to, when you share the news, you want to be there to support them in the way that they need to be supported. And I'm sure that they, once they got the news and they supported you and helped you and
Yeah.
that, during your journey. So, for those that are, that are going through cancer or that's newly diagnosed and have children, that is a great way to, share or to tell to share the news of your diagnosis if you choose to do so,
Mhm.
because it is important that that you get that you don't sugarcoat. You don't want to tell them every
Mhm.
single thing, but you want them to know that something is going on with mom,
Yeah.
and this is what this is how mom is sick right now, but this is how I am going to go about getting better. And
Yeah. Because even if you don't share with them,
they
kids always know when
pick up.
something's up.
Oh gosh,
Yeah, they
they
know.
pick up those. Gosh, yeah, they pick up the vibes. They know, they sense when something is not right, and so, and even if you're trying to hide it, they're not
Yeah.
I'm not going to go for that. So I'm so thankful that you had your church, your church, had your family. Did you have any, or were you a part of any support groups, whether it was in person or online? And how did those
Yeah.
communities support you?
Yeah. So, as I mentioned, I'm a big community person, like all different types of communities, but community is important for me. So, I knew right away I was going to dive into the cancer community,
Yeah,
which some people, get really nervous about and don't want to like connect with other, people in the cancer
right,
community. But I knew those would be the people who would really get what I was experiencing.
right.
And I actually found my first cancer community when a friend of mine, since childhood, noticed that I was really, really struggling, and
Mm-hmm.
she didn't know how to support me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she could listen and have empathy, but she didn't know exactly how to support me. And she wound up probably searching on Google, and she shared with me an app. It was actually the BC Healthline.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they have a website, and they also have an app that has like forums, you know.
Yeah.
And so she shared the app with me, and she said, "Hey, I found this. You might find some, you know, this kind of support that you need
Right.
there in other people who are experiencing cancer."
Right.
And it was just a huge blessing. I downloaded that app
Yeah.
and, you know, made myself a little, you know, semi-anonymous user name, and went into, you know, the forums,
Yeah.
and just kind of felt not alone immediately. I had people other than my family to vent to, because sometimes you don't want to put all that on your family,
Right.
especially when there's so much unknown. You don't have the staging yet, you don't have a treatment plan yet, and you're just kind of freaking out internally. You know, that was where I would go when I couldn't sleep at night, because I could post at any time,
Mm-hmm.
and I would just share my fears. And that was my first cancer
Okay.
community. And I found I call her my OG breastie now. But I was posting, you know, like, I'll call it like panic posting,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like, oh my God, I can't sleep. I'm so worried. What if, and this, you know, I got a lot of wonderful responses, but this one woman like private messaged me, and she was like, "You need to take some deep breaths." She was like, "We've all been there." And then she was
Yeah.
like, "I know it feels like you're just like falling in a black abyss right now, but once you get a treatment plan, you will feel more empowered and like, all right, let's do this." And we've stayed connected now. She lives all the way in Florida. I'm in Connecticut, but we've gotten together in real life a few times now.
Yeah.
But that was my very first cancer community, because I didn't really feel ready
Yeah.
to jump into the in-person ones at my cancer center, especially since they were mixed. They didn't have one that was just for, you know, like metastatic women. It was all ages, it was all stages. And for me, I pretty, you know, at the time I wasn't ready for something
Right.
like that. And so I actually took to Instagram, made an Instagram account, and started connecting with other people, found the Facebook groups. They're, you know, they can get very
Yeah.
specific, like, you know, stage 4 under 40, or triple negative, and, you know, women of color. We got the breast cancer baddie
Mm-hmm.
groups, and groups specific to what drug you're on. So eventually I found so many different supports, which has
Yeah.
really been like a lifeline.
Yeah. There is a just a plethora of, like you said, support groups out there for those
Yes.
that are looking for a community.
Mhm.
There's so many support groups out there that can, you know, that will support you, so you won't feel like you're alone, and so
Yes.
you won't feel like you know you're isolated. And when you have
Mhm.
panic moments, because we've all
Yes.
have someone that you can actually vent to, and there's someone that actually understands and knows what you're going through, and that
Yes.
self is going to be okay. Tisha, it's going
Mhm.
to deep breaths. And this is and like you said, once you get your treatment plan, once you start your treatment, it's going to be okay. It may not seem like it right now.
Yeah.
Trust, it is going to be fine. And for me, that when I was going through my journey, mine was similar to yours. I went online and searched for, found an online support group. I also joined my support group through my church. But the thing was, the thing with that was I was the young one there, and the only thing that we had in common was that we had breast cancer. And so it wasn't until after I went through my treatment that I found other communities, like for the rest of us,
Mhm.
um, that came, that focus on younger women of color that
Mhm.
by breast cancer. And even though I wasn't going through treatment, I still needed the support. I call myself I'm an OG baddie, And I just love that. I love that platform. I love the
Yes.
organization. But there's just so many out there now. You have for the rest of us. You got Touch, which is
Yes.
another awesome organization. You have and I always give a shout out to some of the grassroots organizations here in the area, in the DMV area, Two for Two Boobs, Pink for the City, that are focusing on women of color that have been impacted. Tiger Lily,
Yes.
so many, and I believe that you were you an angel advocate?
I've never been an angel advocate, even though a lot I get that question
I,
a lot because I'm always involved in so
but
many
I
things.
know that you do a lot with Touch,
Yes, I do a lot with touch, and I call myself an OG baddie too because
and you
for
are
the for the rest of us, they what they're about to celebrate their
yeah,
fifth anniversary
celebrate them.
this month. It be coming up May,
Yep.
so they didn't even they'd only been in existence for a few months since I was diagnosed in August of 2019. They was founded in May of 2019. It's such a important community. I can't imagine it having not existed. And that was actually my very first platform where I shared my story. I posted it on their blog, and I became one of the inaugural class of Baddie ambassadors. So,
Yeah. So yeah, like again, a wonderful organization. And so now you again, you are thriving, you are surviving, you are the voice of those that don't have that voice or choose not to.
mhm.
Um, tell our listeners a little bit about what's some of the advocacy work that you are doing, because girl, you
And
are doing, and every bit of it. And I want
oh,
our listeners out there and the viewers out there to know and to see the wonderful things that you are doing, so that they can have other resources for support when they're going through their cancer. So share with us what
yeah, there's so much. So even though, I mean, I always tell people like, people always assume when they meet me sometimes that I am just with like one specific organization. I'm always like, it's so hard in my bio to fit in stuff because I'm like, I'm just Deltra, and wherever I'm needed or wanted, I just
that
go and like partner with people and do the
yeah.
things. If I feel like, oh, you're doing something that's really important to me, you're reaching Black women or this or that. But again, I got my start with For the Breast of Us. I absolutely adore them. I
Mm-hmm.
am no longer a official Baddie ambassador, but I still have done
You're
things with them, like their podcast.
mm-hmm.
I was just on it a couple months ago, earlier this month actually, on a Instagram live
Mm-hmm.
talking about dating with cancer, which is always a fun topic. So
Yeah.
I'm still doing some things with them. I'm still working with Touch. Um, like for Mother's Day, we'll have the Doctors In episode
Okay.
that I'll be on. And in that same vein, because when it comes to things like discussing parenting with cancer, that's a big one for me.
Mm-hmm.
I actually work with the Bright Spot Network now,
Okay.
and it's like every 3 months that I host parents of color with, they can be early stage or late
Mm-hmm.
stage, but parents of color who've, gone through or going through cancer. So I head up, it's just a virtual, meetup,
Okay.
and I've created different topics to discuss for each one. Like I think the one we have coming up next is in June, and it's about finding or building your village.
Okay.
Because again, none of us can get through this all alone.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely not. So that's a big one. I'm sure you've heard of the Chrysalis
The
Initiative.
Chrysalis Initiative.
Yes,
Absolutely. I feel
yes. And I just
yeah.
became one of their coaches,
Okay.
one of their cancer
Okay.
coaches. So if anyone needs that one-on-one support, I've been at this for a while now, living with cancer stuff. I don't got it unlocked, but I got it
But
pretty down.
you got it.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and
And
then in December, back in December, I graduated. I finished training to become a death doula, which sounds big and scary, but
Oh.
I'm someone who's always been really
Mhm.
curious and positive, like death positives. They say I've been open to discussing it, and now even more so, with facing cancer diagnosis and needing to like get those plans in order and such. And I noticed within the cancer community, especially the advanced cancer community, how much anxiety people have, and it gets, and that's normal.
Exactly.
But the issue is when people let it paralyze them. And
Hmm.
then one, they're not truly living, and two, they're not taking care of really important planning, that benefits not only them if they couldn't speak for themselves anymore, but their loved ones. It makes, things easier on them when that time comes. And so a big thing for me, and how I wanted to use my death doula certification is to just kind of help people cope with those fears. So I'll definitely be and get those plans made. So I'll definitely be diving more into that this year.
Okay. Girl, you are doing it up. I am loving every bit of it. Again, if I was to Google powerhouse, your name would come up. Okay. I'm 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 loving it, and I love how you are paying it forward. I love how you are, again, I can't stress it enough. I love how you're advocating. I love how you are, being that support, being that encouragement, for those that need it. And like you said, there's so many things that you are a part of. You just go where you need it. And I'm
Yeah, there's just so many things that are like important and
exactly.
important to the cancer journey. Someone's like, hey, you're a mama of five and you used to homeschool. I bet you know quite a bit about parenting and now you're
I'm
living with
sure.
cancer. So can you come and,
So you,
host this group or this or that? Can you talk about dating with cancer? Because I went through a divorce after diagnosis. So I just kind of,
so
yeah.
touch on a lot of aspects, things that happen, when you are going through your journeys. There's just great. Is there anything that you can't talk about? Oh my God. I, I absolutely.
Oh, and I also had shout out, one of the things that I use for coping through my diagnosis, even before through my life has been poetry. And that is the only way in which I'm artistic. But
Okay.
but I, went ahead and created a separate um page or profile
Okay.
that I manage on Instagram called the Beatnik Boob. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to share my poetry here and I'm going to create a space for other cancer patients, caregivers to kind of share their wins and their woes, their experience and express it through their art, their poetry, because I do feel like art therapy, that's why it's such a big
Yeah.
thing. And, expressive writing because it's very
Yeah.
healing. And just this past last Friday, I hosted a virtual open mic night that was really, it was packed. The turnout was so great.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay, people need and want this.
Now, the poetry that you create, do you write it down? Do you have it written down somewhere?
I do write it down.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, because I've been writing poetry since I was a kid.
We will
And
love it.
I'm that person who in high school had like a notebook with like volumes of poetry. And so I still like to write things down, but now I also am a Canva girl. And so I'll,
Okay.
create graphics with the poetry. And then I just share the space because I was like, we're having this shared experience. And so people DM me and be like, hey, I wrote this poem. I think other cancer patients might relate to it, whether it's on grief or just the cancer experience, the rage, the hope, all of it. And so it's a space for all of that.
Well, we're gonna have to get. We would love to hear one of these fabulous poems. So get you to come back to the tea room and share. Absolutely. So she is Deltra's not only an patient advocate, but she is a poet. She is. I mean, she is a jack of all trades, and love it, and I absolutely love it. Before we end this fabulous conversation, this has just been so wonderful catching up with
I'm
you.
so glad it finally happened.
We was gonna make this happen, girl. We was gonna make
Yes. You heard me yelling for my child to
it.
bring me my other phone that she was playing on. I was like, girl, I gotta do this thing, okay? So
We was gonna make.
I was like, I don't know what's up with the technology, but not
Yeah,
today.
we was gonna make it happen. I come hell or high water. We was gonna have this conversation because the enemy did not want us to have this conversation because it is so important
Hmm.
um, for us to have this talk and this chat in the tea room.
Yeah.
But share with our listeners if you can give, again as we conclude Minority Health Month, if there's one piece of advice that you can give a person of color staying on top of their health, what advice would you give them?
A big piece of advice I would say is just if you grew up being taught,
Hmm.
not being taught how to care for yourself and
Yeah.
having your experiences dismissed. And I feel like that starts at home a lot of
Okay.
times. You know, we have to throw that out
Yeah.
because it's not benefiting us anymore in our adulthood. It doesn't benefit our
Hmm.
children. Like our mental health is extremely real and important.
Yes.
We see these memes today, or we joke and everything, hee hee ha ha, about our black and everything experience, or trying to tell a parent I'm depressed and then be like, depress some dishes, like and we'll laugh about it,
Right.
but it's a trauma response.
It,
And we're like, okay, but actually, these are very real things that
yeah.
we need to sit with and take care of. Um, it's important. We live in a time where there's so many ways to access what we need. And so it's important. Many of us are, sometimes the head of household or the main caregiver, whether it's we have other adults we're also caring for or we have children, and we become so accustomed to just pushing aside our own well-being.
Yes.
But it really matters. We truly can't take care of anyone else if we aren't taking care of ourselves.
Absolutely.
So a big thing is, just like I said I had to do, take the time out to prioritize
Absolutely.
yourself. Whatever you're realizing you need, whether you're noticing that you're really struggling mentally, you
Mhm.
know, then you need to reach out for some support. It might just, your peers and family may be enough support, but if you need more support from a professional, that's just fine. Go get that support. And when it comes to your physical health, definitely don't play about it. If you notice anything is off, that's why it's important to be aware of your body. And when we don't slow down at all, then we are not aware of our body.
Aware. Absolutely.
So,
And it is, and I'll even add to that, making sure that you're getting those screenings,
yes.
making sure that, for those, especially, in regards to cancer, breast cancer, or whatever type of cancer, making sure that you're getting those, every week, um, getting those mammograms. I know
Mhm.
I'll tell anyone that, it's better to just endure a couple of minutes of pain,
Yep.
get those boobs squished just for a few minutes,
Yep.
is, having to get a diagnosis that,
Yes.
that could be, unfortunate.
Mhm.
So making sure that, like you said, taking care of yourself first. That is first and foremost, making yourself a priority. And it's okay to make yourself
Yes.
a priority because oftentimes, in the African American community,
Yep.
we take care, like you said, we take care of everyone else.
Mhm.
We tend to take care of ourselves last. So now
Yes.
time to flip it. We are first. We are number one. And so, what wonderful advice to give, and for those that are listening, on this end of Minority Health Month.
Yes.
Don't want to end this conversation without sharing. For those that are out there listening, we, Delta and I, and along with so many of our sisters in the breast cancer community, we lost a giant last week.
Yes. Uh,
And
truly.
so we a lot of, our communities are paying homage and tribute to our friend, our dear friend and our sister, Miss Sheila Marie Johnson. And I did not want this day to go by and not do my part in paying homage to her as well. For me, I met Sheila in 2019 at breast cancer symposium conference in San Antonio. And when I met her, she just had this humble spirit about her. And at that time, I didn't know how big of a giant she was. And
Truly.
watched her. I watched her um, be the voice. I watched her kick down doors, make sure that women of color were represented with clinical trials, sure
Yes.
that women of color were represented in different breast cancer campaigns. She did so many things to just open the doors for all of us. She taught me, and I asked for watching her, she taught me how to be the advocate. She taught me to do what I'm doing. And she did it with such humility. And that's what I loved about her. Um, did you have any special moments or a special memory that you had with about Sheila?
Oh man, I've just been thinking about her so
Yeah,
much. And last week,
yeah,
Touch actually
yeah,
hosted a
yeah.
virtual watch party of her movie. I
Out
mean, this is the
you.
giant that she was, that BET
Yeah.
made a movie about her life.
Okay.
It was amazing. It put, the experience of someone living with metastatic
Yeah.
breast cancer and talk of clinical trials out there, because I feel like a lot of times with films, we'll see maybe like an early stage experience,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's how big she was, that a movie got made about her life, and she's still just like the most humble about it.
Well, look, I mean,
Um,
I love that about her.
yeah.
I love.
Yeah, and I got to be roommates with her a few years ago
Oh,
when Touch and Dr. Monique, who runs their, co-host their weekly The Doctor Is In
yeah.
show on Facebook.
Hmm.
We went out to her farm for a retreat, and I got to meet Sheila in person, and it was just wonderful. And I think she realized how much advocacy work she
Yeah.
does, because sometimes you get
Yeah.
burnout. And
Yeah.
she just kept saying, I'm so happy to be here. I just want to be Sheila here.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to feel like a
Yeah.
patient or an advocate. And
Yeah.
that's truly what we
Yeah.
did. And then the last time I had connected with her in person was last year when she came out here to
Mhm.
Connecticut for a gala to support one of my favorite local organizations that specifically helps single moms living with metastatic breast cancer. And she just was always smiling
Yes.
and dancing and having a good time. And it just reminds you, like with all the things she had going on, and that's how she could live, so could anyone else,
Led by,
and just choose enjoy.
she was the example that we all can live by. Every,
Yeah,
everything that she's gone through, and for her to do it, like you said, with such humility and with such grace, and she lived life to
yes,
the fullest.
absolutely.
Um, and like you said, for a major network like BET, a major magazine, the Oprah magazine, to do a piece on her, huge, campaigns with different, major breast cancer organizations. And I was so blessed and honored that she came to the tea room. She was on the tea room in February of last.
Love that.
I was so blessed. When I found out that she passed, I went back and I looked at, her show, and just listening to
I'll have to
her,
do that.
just listening to her words of wisdom. For those that want to go back and listen to it, it is on my Instagram account, Tisha's Tea Room. So please go and watch her episode, because just listening to her words of wisdom Um, it's something that I'll never forget. And her words of encouragement for me, she would always say, Tisha, we need Tisha's tea room. We need Tisha's tea room. And for her to say that to me meant the world to me. And those are words that I'll never forget. I will continue, and as you are, and as all of us are, we will continue to advocate. We will continue to fight in her honor. And she
Yes.
know that you are in heaven and you are smiling, you are dancing with your beautiful smile that you had, and we know that you are looking down on us, and we just want to say thank you
Yes.
being the example. Thank you for teaching us to kick down the door and
Mhm.
what we're doing, and we will do that in honor of you. And so, Deltra, I
Yes.
thank you again for coming to the tea room. Thank you for catching up with me. It was,
Yes. Thank you for having me again.
I
This was the very first like podcast or
yeah,
anything that
and
I was ever on
I'm just,
all those years ago when I was newly diagnosed.
yeah, and you 5 years in, that is such a blessing. And just keep doing what you're doing. And I have my shirt on that Sheila actually said,
Oh,
Black patients matter, because we do matter. We
oh, I love it.
I will always keep this. I wanted to wear this shirt today in honor of Sheila. But again, Deltra, thank you for coming on. Come back and see me, and it's
Yes.
and to let us know what else you are up to. But for those that want to follow you on social media, how can they do that?
Well, Instagram is my
Oh,
main active social media, and that is Deltra, Deltra underscore does underscore it. So Deltra does it.
and she does it.
And if you enjoy reading poetry or you want to share some poetry or artwork, that has to do with your cancer experience, then you can send that to me through my other Instagram account, which is the Beatnik Boob.
Okay. Well, you have heard it, everyone. Thank you again for those that are out there. Thank you for listening and
Yes.
watching. Please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Tisha's Tea Room. This episode will soon be on there, so please like and share out, as well as you can listen and watch other chats that I've had with some wonderful, amazing survivors and thrivers. And
Mm-hmm.
till next time, this is Tisha, your favorite breast cancer survivor from Tisha's Tea Room, the place where conversations conquer cancer. And this conversation, again, we have done just that. We are conquering cancer. So, Delta, I love you, my sister. I got to get to
Love you
Connecticut. I
too.
got to get to Connecticut to come see you.
Yes.
And if you are in the Maryland, DC area, please don't hesitate to call me so that we can get together. But yes, give my love to the girls, and
I will.
we will talk soon.
Yes. Thanks for having me.
Welcome. I love you.
Good night.
Night.